Hello and welcome to this new episode, new show, we're back, new season of Hughes of the World, the show that takes you places that you may never heard of before. Some places that you have, but one of the places that's quite a little bit off the beaten track is Côte d'Ivoire in West Africa. Now, we'll be jumping into a map later on, but first of all, just a big shout out to Paul, who I think is my only viewer at the moment. So if anyone else is out there, Gunny is there. Welcome to Superstar. Oh, welcome. Thank you for joining us. That's really cool of you. Welcome, new members. If you would like to join Gunny and Paul in the chat, all you need to do is you need to subscribe to the channel and we'll all have cake. Okay, so welcome to the new season of Hughes of the World. It's been nearly 3 years since the last episode, and now finally, even though I said it would be next week, back in March 2022, it's actually coming round to Côte d'Ivoire. My name is Graham Hughes. I'm the first person to visit every country in the world without flying, and I spent a little bit of time in Côte d'Ivoire on that particular journey. T in the chat, we are the only generation of America who elected a felon to our nation's highest office. This is our place in American history. Crazy times, mate. Crazy times. We're not going to be talking about American politics. We're not going to be talking about anyone else's politics tonight, apart from Côte d'Ivoire, perhaps. So Côte d'Ivoire is vibrant, dynamic. It's culturally rich. The Côte d'Ivoire, or Ivory Coast, as we say in English, offers a fascinating mix of modern cities, ancient traditions, and natural beauty. While it's not as touristic as nearby Ghana or Senegal, it boasts bustling markets and beautiful beaches and a vibrant music scene, which sometimes goes a little bit under the radar. Côte d'Ivoire is a melting pot of cultures with over 60 ethnic groups and a history influenced by West African kingdoms, French colonization, and mass migration. From the bustling streets of Abidjan to the serene beaches of Grand-Bassam and the wildlife of Taï National Park, the Côte d'Ivoire offers a diverse array of experiences for adventurous travellers, I'll say. So, just to show you, this is the Lonely Planet guide that I took around West Africa with me. I had this. I think I had this with me when I was in jail. When I was in jail in Cape Verde. I think it's still got mad lists of stuff written in the back and people that I met and phone numbers of people that probably don't even work anymore. But Côte d'Ivoire in here. So this is I was in Côte d'Ivoire in 2009. This was written in 2006. And it says, warning, the British and Commonwealth Office advises all travel against only 2 countries, Somalia and Côte d'Ivoire. The situation on the ground can change rapidly. Most of the threats and rumours turn out to be false alarms, where history clearly shows you cannot dismiss such talk. A few people still travel to Abidjan, to the nearby beaches, but seek up-to-the-minute information if you decide to join them. Due to violent street protests and additional threats in Abidjan and elsewhere, we were unable to do on-the-ground research for this edition. Instead, we relied on friends and journalists residing in the country. So, I was very lucky. When I was traveling in 2009, there was only one country in the world that the FCO said you couldn't go to any part of. You wouldn't be insured by any insurance company. And that was Somalia. So I spent the sum total of about 10 minutes in Somalia for obvious reasons. Even though I went to the north of Somalia, Somaliland, which is fairly peaceful. But Côte d'Ivoire was taking a breath when I went there in 2009. Unfortunately, in 2010, it all kicked off again. So I'll come to that when I talk about the history of the place. But just be aware that, I was very, very lucky to be able to go to these places when I went to go to them. If I had tried to get into these places a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, the door would have been slammed in my face and I would never have been able to complete my adventure, especially not in just 4 years. So we're going to talk a bit about the geography of Côte d'Ivoire. And in order to do that, I'm going to take you over to the other screen here, which actually should have a map of a globe, because this is a globe, it's not flat, of the Earth. This is the planet that we know and love. There's all the countries. Listen, I've been to all of those countries. That's crazy, isn't it? Anyway, so this little dotted line in the middle here, this is Côte d'Ivoire. Okay, so we're in West Africa. This little bit that bulges out from the side of Africa. We're surrounded by Liberia, Guinea, Burkina Faso, and Ghana. Okay, there are all the countries all around there, border Côte d'Ivoire. Up here in the north, very jungly, and majority Muslim area. Down here in the south, It is not so jungly, but it's a majority Christian area. And if we zoom into Abidjan, which is the main city, it's not the capital though. The capital is Yamoussoukro, but this is the main city. You'll see that actually, I think have we got? Can we put a little man down there? Can we? Oh, get in! Look, we can put a little man down. Let's put a little man down. Woo! I'm flying. This is really cool. So here we go. We're coming along on the wrong side of the road. Let's go to the right side of the road, shall we? Oh no, I can't go any further. Aha! So this is Abidjan, which is on the water. There's some really lovely beaches around here. And you can see there's some very tall buildings. There's a bridge over there as well. And there's some really, really tall buildings over here. If I can try and escape this, let me out. And actually go downtown, as they say. I'll just jump it. Hey, oi, little man, go back there. No, he's not letting me drop me little man down. Oh, that's a bit rubbish, isn't it? Can I go there? Whoa, whoa. Okay, we're right in the middle of the city here. So Abidjan and Côte d'Ivoire in general is, I don't know, it's a little bit more upmarket than some of the other places in West Africa that I went to. You can see here, there's a nice little area with some bushes and stuff. And there are some little sky scratchers. There are some little towers that look really cool. And I was fortunate enough to stay in one when I was staying in Côte d'Ivoire. I stayed in a really lovely place up somewhere. But yeah, I'm just gonna try and get out again. For a moment, because I wanted to let's see if we can see some tall, wherever the tall buildings. Whoa, there's a stadium there. there's a big stadium, and there's a train station. There's a train station there, and there's motorways. There's motorways in Côte d'Ivoire, which is unusual for West Africa. It's usually just mud tracks as far as the eye can see. And then we've got this kind of weird little bit here, which is like a kind of little island that sticks out from the side of Abidjan, and it's got a lagoon. It's got a lagoon in it, and there's quite a few people living in Côte d'Ivoire. It's really quite a vibrant and interesting place to visit, and it's got a place called Wangolodugu. Wangolodugu, that's pronounced. Brilliant. So you can see that it is West Africa here with all the other West African countries around it. It's a francophone country. The country is divided into several regions, including the coastal lagoon region, the fertile interior here, and savannah in the north. Actually, up here, we've got a bit more savannah. It's not as jungly in the very far north here in Korhogo over here. So yeah, we've got the largest city, which is, oh, sorry, I'm going to make you feel ill by zooming out a bit too much here. But the largest city was Abidjan, but then the capital here is Yamoussoukro, which is famous for having a huge dome. In fact, if I go on there, you can see the dome. Now, this dome is particularly famous because it's something like 1 inch smaller than the dome of St. Peter's Basilica. So yeah, because they didn't want to disrespect the Pope, you know, by making something a little bit bigger than what the Pope had. Yeah, it's quite an interesting place. There's the president. See there? I think that's where the president lives. We'll get on to the president in a little while, but yeah, I don't know if it'll let me. Would it let me do a little man over here? Would it let me put it? No. I was hoping to get some street view going on in Yamoussoukro there, but that's not going to happen. So we'll go back to Abidjan. Go down here to where that's the main bit of the city. Let's have a look. There you go. Which is here. This is sort of like the little Manhattan. See, this is really cool, isn't it? Little Manhattan. And then if I try and get my little man, I want to go there. Can you drop me there? Oh, you fab! Thank you. There's another tower over there, and a big cloud, and there we have Solidarity. I think that's the El Presidente there, and a thing from the Rotary Club. That's the Rotary Club of Abidjan, which is where a bunch of immigrants from Western countries come and get. I think it's more like a drinking pit. I think they raise money for charity and stuff, but you know, it's a bit of a drinking pit. So can I just move over here quickly? There you go. So you know, it's a vibrant, bustling city. I could be traveling along here. I wouldn't know if I was in Africa, to be honest with you. At this place, I mean, this could be somewhere in Europe. Could be somewhere in South America. the building stuff. It's all good. What's the UC migration done? Waiting for the phone call and appointment at the job centre, which I'm not looking forward to. Is JC Job Centre? Sarah Davis, hang in there. I know it's a lot. But it'll try and be a weapon of mass destruction here on this channel, at least for an hour or so, while I talk about Côte d'Ivoire. So I'm just going to head back to the main view. Hello. The Côte d'Ivoire's claim to fame is it's the world's largest producer of cocoa or cacao, contributing to 40% of the entire world's supply, the global supply of chocolate. Yeah, 40% of it comes from Côte d'Ivoire. It's also a major producer of coffee and palm oil. Abidjan is often referred to as the Paris of West Africa. It's known for its modern skyscrapers and vibrant nightlife, which I've taken part in, and honestly, it's really cool. It's a really cool place to hang out. The Basilica of Our Lady of Peace in Yamoussoukro is the largest church in the world. Oh, it is the church. I'm getting told here that it is the largest church in the world. I thought the dome was smaller by an inch. But maybe in terms of the actual overall size, it surpasses St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. Côte d'Ivoire has experienced political turmoil, including 2 civil wars, one that raged from 2002 to 2007. And then there was another one between 2010 and 2011, which is the year after I was there. Traditional Ivorian weddings are vibrant multi-day affairs, celebrations including music, dance, and intricate rituals. The Ivorian football team is known as Les Elephants. Elephant. They don't pronounce the T, and has produced world-class players such as Didier Drogba and Yaya Touré. The country is home to the Taï National Park, which I mentioned earlier, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's known for its biodiversity and its endangered chimpanzees. Ate eke is a side dish made from cassava. It's a staple in Ivorian cuisine. People from the Côte d'Ivoire are called Ivorians. And Côte d'Ivoire is known also for its traditional music and dance, including the internationally popular Coupé-Décalé genre, which is traditional, but also like they kind of update it for modern ears. It's well worth checking out if you ever go there. As I mentioned, Yamoussoukro is the capital, and Abidjan it used to be the capital, but we'll find out later the capital got moved because the president wanted it to be moved at the time. Then you've got the population of the country is about 28 million. I read somewhere else that it was about 32 million. It's a bit of an estimate. But the population is ethnically diverse, with major groups including the Akan, the Kuru, the Mande, and the Gur peoples, as well as a significant immigrant community. The religion there is 42% Islam, 32% Christian, 20% indigenous beliefs and others. And this is something that you see across many countries in Africa. We saw this in Nigeria. We see this in Sudan before it split in two, where you have a majority Muslim north and a majority Christian or animist or indigenous belief south of the country. This was done on purpose by the Western powers who met in Paris in the 1880s and said, let's divide up Africa for ourselves. And they divided it up into things that suited the Western powers. And one of the things they wanted to do was divide and rule, which was keep people fighting amongst themselves. And then you can basically run the place and steal all the money. Sound familiar? The reason why it's not homogeneous when it comes to religion is partly because of that. Christian missionaries went over there, even in the era of slavery, but especially in the era of colonialism. Missionaries from France who converted people to Catholicism, but also you had even before then you had Muslim slave traders who wouldn't enslave their fellow Muslims, or at least they said they wouldn't. And so a lot of people would convert to Islam so that they and their families wouldn't be enslaved. The government over there is a presidential republic with a multi-party system, although the same guy's been in charge for the last 15 years. And actually did that thing, where You know, where you're in charge for 2 terms and then you change the constitution to stay for an extra term, and then you just keep doing that forever, like what Putin did, like what Trump's going to do. Yeah, that. But the currency they use is the West African CFA, which is a common currency across many of the Francophone countries in West Africa. There's the West African CFA and there's the Central African CFA, and they're both pegged to the euro. They used to be pegged to the French franc, and now they're pegged to the euro. So the euro goes up in value, their currency goes up in value. So it's a stable currency for all these countries to use. Notable exceptions to this is Nigeria, which doesn't use it, uses its own money. Ghana uses its own money, but they were all British colonies. They weren't part of the Francosphere part. And the one country that is notable because it was part of the Francosphere part, but said no, was Guinea, which I'll get to when we get to the episode on Guinea. But yeah, they said basically they would rather be poor and free than rich and in chains. And the way things turned out in Guinea, most people ended up poor and in chains. Didn't turn out so good. But yeah, the West African CFA, it's CFA, it's Central Franc African or something like that. It's currency franc. I don't know. It's CFA, so they pronounce it CFA. And it's on the stock exchange. What the stock exchange? No, the money exchange is as XOF is the initials. The GDP per capita is approximately £2,700, which isn't very much, but it's a lot better than it was when I was there. And I can't find my book. I'll check it. So when I was there in 2009, the Liberia. Oh shit! Hang on, that's Liberia. I want Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire. Yeah, when I was there, the GDP per capita was £1,305 a year per person, which is not great. But it's better now. It's almost double that in 2025. It drives on the right, and the economy there is one of the strongest economies in West Africa, driven by agriculture, natural resources and services. However, economic disparities remain, particularly between urban and rural areas. But that's nothing different or new, or like I don't think that's surprising for anyone. The food over there, I've mentioned some before, but the Ivorian cuisine includes dishes like gaba, which is fried tuna with atadeki, and we've also got kejano, which is spicy chicken stew, and we've also got ahoha, which is fried plantains, which is always good. But the food I found in Côte d'Ivoire and also Ghana in particular, absolutely fantastic, really good, spicy, interesting, beautiful food that they have in these West African countries. And I mean, I was traveling fast. I was on the road a lot of the time, so I was sort of snacking and just eating roadside. I don't know, whatever they were cooking in the barbecue at the side of the road. It could have been roadkill. I don't know. So when I actually got a chance to sit down and have some really good food, like street food, which I love, it was a real delight. The national anthem is called the L'Abidjanaise. Okay, L'Abidjanaise. It's impossible to pronounce. L'Abidjanaise is the name of the national anthem, and it goes a little bit like. Oh, I was going to play it for you. I am going to play it for you. It goes a little bit like this. Let me stick this in my lug hole so I can hear it as well. Here we go. This is the national anthem of Côte d'Ivoire. Oh, this is nice. It's quite modern, isn't it? Ooh, it's got that kind of doof. We salute you, O land of hope, country of hospitality. This is really nice. Thy full gallant legions have restored thy dignity. Beloved Ivory Coast, thy sons. Proud builders of thy greatness. There's actually a video to go with this. Should we watch the video? joy we will construct thee. Proud Ivorians, the country calls us. We have brought liberty back peacefully. I like this. It will be our duty to be an example. Of the hope promised to humanity. In building, united in the new faith. The homeland of true brotherhood. It's beautiful, that, isn't it? That's by Abidjan. Beaches. Some pirogues on the water there, wooden pirogues. Oh, it's lovely. The homeland of true brotherhood. I like that. That's lovely. That's great. I love that. I love the music video that someone's made as well. It's kind of cool. Anyway, okay, so back to what I was talking about. We're going to talk a little bit now about the history of Côte d'Ivoire. If you've got any questions about the place, I might be able to answer them. I don't know. So between 1000 and 1500 AD or CE, as you might like to call it, Côte d'Ivoire was inhabited by a variety of indigenous groups, including the Akan, the Kru, the Mandé, and the Gur peoples. These groups formed small kingdoms and chiefdoms, each with its own distinct culture and governance, and usually its own language. In the 11th century, the Mandé people, linked to the Malay Empire, the Mali Empire, began to migrate into the northern regions of Côte d'Ivoire. They brought Islam and new trade networks connecting the region to the wider Sahel and the Niger River basin. Between the 12th and the 18th century, the Kong Empire emerged in the north, a prosperous Islamic state that became a hub for trade and scholarship. And the empire traded gold, ivory, and cola nuts with empires to the north and across the Sahara. One of the lies that we've often told about Africa is that there was nothing going on there before Whitey turned up. That's bullshit. There was lots going on in Africa. If you go to the north of Ethiopia, for instance, you go to Gondar, they've got castles. They've got actual castles that were built hundreds and hundreds of years ago, because of course they do. They had empires, you know. They fought against each other. They were doing stuff. They were being productive. Well, I don't know how productive it is to be fighting wars against each other, but there was history before Whitey turned up. We weren't the start of history in Africa, and it pisses me off when we talk about the history of places and it basically starts with colonialism or starts with slavery. It did not in any way, shape, or form. The Baoulé Kingdom, a part of the Akan migration from present-day Ghana, settled in central Côte d'Ivoire. At this time, they established a well-organized society with strong oral tradition and an agricultural economy. The Jaman Kingdom. What a great name. There's so many great names. The Jaman Kingdom, also of Akan origin, controlled parts of eastern Côte d'Ivoire and western Ghana, playing a key role in regional trade and politics. The Kru people, who lived along the coast, the coastal people, they were skilled fishermen and traders. They maintained trade relations with European merchants as early as the 1400s. This is before even Columbus went across the ocean to the New World. The Senefu people in the north were known for their art, particularly wooden sculptures and masks that were used in spiritual and social ceremonies. Côte d'Ivoire was also part of the trans-Saharan trade routes, dealing in gold, ivory, and slaves. The region was a cultural crossroads where Islam, indigenous regions, and later European influences intersected. It wasn't until the 1400s, as I mentioned, that we had this European contact, sort of early colonization. This went back to 1483, when Portuguese explorers became the first Europeans to reach the Ivorian coast, naming it the Ivory Coast due to the thriving trade in ivory. And obviously you can't trade ivory anymore, so a bit redundant. Interestingly, Ghana used to be the Gold Coast. Ghana next door, before they changed the name to Ghana, it was known as the Gold Coast. And then further along was the slavery coast, unfortunately. From the 18th to the 19th century, French, British, and Dutch sailors established coastal trading posts, and the coastal peoples, particularly the Kru and the Akan, engaged in trade with the Europeans, exchanging ivory, gold, slaves, etc., for firearms, textiles, and other goods. And these trades were like recorded at the time. The Benin bronzes, which were stolen by the British, all mixed up and now are in the British Museum when they shouldn't be. They should be in Nigeria where they belong. The Benin bronzes, they actually show on the bronzes, because it's the history of the people of the Kingdom of Benin. It actually shows them meeting with Portuguese and Dutch traders. It shows it. It shows it on in their history, in the way that they chose to mark their history. From 1843 to 1844, France it signed treaties with local kings in Assigny and Grand-Bassam, establishing a protectorate and gaining a foothold for later colonial exploitation. Exploitation, really. The French colonial rule started in 1893, so don't forget that was probably about 8 years after they had all the European powers had met up in Berlin and decided to carve up Africa between them. The Côte d'Ivoire was declared a French colony, initially part of French West Africa, which is Afrique Occidentale Française. In 1904, it was officially incorporated into French West Africa. The French imposed forced labor, nice, and they built infrastructure. They introduced cash crops like cocoa and coffee, which became the backbone of the country. In 1934, Abidjan becomes the capital of Côte d'Ivoire, replacing Grand-Bassam. Grand-Bassam was the capital, and then it was Abidjan, and then it went on to be called go over to Yamoussoukro, which you saw on the map there before. In 1946, Côte d'Ivoire becomes an overseas territory of France, gaining representation in the French National Assembly, and Félix Houphouët-Boigny emerges as the key political leader, advocating for improved conditions for African workers and greater autonomy. In 1958, Côte d'Ivoire became an autonomous republic within the French community. On August the 7th, 1960, independence was declared, with Félix Houphouët, I love this name, I love this guy's name, Houphouët-Boigny, becoming the first president. And then 1960 to 1993, under Houphouët-Boigny, the country experienced rapid economic growth, becoming one of West Africa's most prestigious nations, known as the Ivorian miracle. Cocoa and coffee exports drive development, but financial benefits are unevenly distributed. One of the key markers of this era was the fact that there was a lot of corruption going on. And, Félix Houphouët-Boigny really did take the piss. Something absolutely rotten. In 1983, the political capital was moved from Abidjan to Yamoussoukro, and Houphouët-Boigny's birthplace. That's the reason it was moved, because he was like, "Oh, I want to move it to Liverpool because I was born in Liverpool." So he just upped and moved it. And then we had in 1993, he died, and a guy called Henri Konan Bédier became president, and in 1999, a military coup ousted Bédier and led. This was led by a guy called Robert Gueye, marking the first coup in the country's history. In 2000, Laurent Gbagbo wins contested elections, and violence ensues as General Robert Gueye attempted to regain power. So then we have this falling into the civil war and conflict era. In 2002, a rebellion in the north of the country with rebels, new forces controlling the north and the government to the south. In 2003, a peace agreement was signed, but the country remained divided. 2004, French forces intervened during violent clashes in Abidjan. And in 2007, the Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, up to the north of Côte d'Ivoire, the Ouagadougou peace agreement was signed, and that officially ended the civil war for now. But then in 2010, so I was there in 2009, and then in 2010, a year later, there was the post-election crisis. Presidential elections were held, and Alassane Ouattara is declared the winner by the Electoral Commission, but incumbent Laurent Gbagbo refuses to concede. Violence erupts, leading to a second civil conflict, and Gbagbo is arrested with the help of French and UN forces. Ouattara assumes the presidency in 2011, bringing some modicum of stability to the country. I'm going to say that because he's still in power to this day. So 2015, Ouattara is re-elected in a largely peaceful election. In 2020, Ouattara runs for a controversial third term. Sound familiar? After his chosen successor dies, he wins amid opposition boycotts, and then in 2021, the former president Laurent Gbagbo, he returned to Côte d'Ivoire. The guy who started the war in 2011, he returned to Côte d'Ivoire after being acquitted by the International Criminal Court. So brings us to the present day. Ouattara is still the president of Côte d'Ivoire. I don't know what's going to happen with that, whether he's going to stay as president forever. I don't know. But Côte d'Ivoire continues to maintain stability and is focused on economic growth and national reconciliation. When I was there, I had to travel through what was called the rebel-controlled area to get into the country. And so I had to really keep my head down and just, not make a fuss, just keep going. And then as I got closer to Abidjan, the colour of the uniforms that the soldiers wore at the side of the road changed from the rebel colours to the government colours. And but I had a fantastic experience in Côte d'Ivoire. I really, really enjoyed myself the short time I was there. I'm going to show you some footage from my time in Côte d'Ivoire. Most of it's just driving along the road, because that's most of the time I spent was driving along the fucking road. But it might be a little bit entertaining for you to watch, for you to join me going through this footage. Now, I haven't vetted this footage. I haven't checked on it to make sure that it's appropriate. I happen to know there's a bit in it that'll probably put you off your dinner. So if you're eating, then maybe watch this later or stop eating. I don't know. But let's get in this. Let's go over to this here. Oh God! Oh shit! He looks familiar. He looks like trouble. Let's go.
Unbelievable as it might seem, this is the main road between Liberia and the Ivory Coast.
Saying it's the main road.
It's the main road.
Liberia and the Ivory Coast.
Crikey. I need to go down one of the other border crossings.
That's me without a helmet on.
This is the main one.
Going down a dirt track. Let's have a look at this road. This is the main road between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire. I found this a lot in Africa when you're actually there, like a lot of the countries. That they will have motorways, they will have highways, A roads, and stuff like that. But then when it comes to actually getting from one country to another, yeah, not so great. I'm just going to turn the volume down on that a bit because it's a bit annoying to hit the bike. But yeah, back of a moto taxi here for quite a while as we trundle along the road here. You can see the state of the road.
I got out of Liberia. Liberia was sound. I didn't pay any bribes to anyone. People were very polite. They asked politely for a bribe. They'll say, "Have you got a present for me, or can I buy a beer?" But if you said no, they didn't threaten to lock you up, like in Guinea. Guinea is foul. Guinea is the worst country I've been to, apart from Cape Verde.
Tell me what you really think, Graham. So let's chug along here a little bit.
Dreadful. It was
just all talk about my experiences.
We're inland in West Africa. Weird. I also like the way it kind of goes over the switch. Anyways, so it's about 5:30 in the morning, and now I'm about to go on the bus to Abidjan, which is like the capital. It's not really the capital, but it's kind of like, in Africa, you have always capitals, well, it's one of the capitals. I have to wait 12 hours to get there. It's just there, out the door, and
That's my bus.
it's supposed to be leaving at 6 now.
There we go.
And it's been very, very uncomfortable for me.
Okay, is on the minibus to Abidjan. Oh, that's not a nice noise, is it? Let's send that down. This is why I need to sort of edit all this together, you know. We stop here. There we go. Oh, there's a man with another man on his head. Oh no, he's standing on a van. So these minibuses ubiquitous around West Africa. You fit as many people as you can in them. Rest in peace. That guy's got a sign that says rest in peace, rest on peace. There we go. Travelling along. So this is coming in from the west of the country. I'm coming into Côte d'Ivoire from Liberia, and I'm going across the country eastwards towards Abidjan here, and then I went eastwards into Ghana. There's me eating a sardine in a.
I'm sure she'll be absolutely lovely. Anyway, so I'm going to take.
That's me. That's my lunch. That's why I got so excited when I got some actually decent food. And then we've got some more footage traveling along.
You might not care about this, but we're actually on the first dual carriageway that I've been on since I got to West Africa. It's amazing.
I'm just saying there, I'm on the first dual carriageway that I've been on since I got to West Africa, which was true at the time. I mean, that was a bit disingenuous. I'd been on a few dual carriageways, but they've been like short and sorry, let me just pause that. They've been quite short, and I've been I'd been in the city centre, and there've been roadworks and stuff, so you couldn't really travel at any speed along them. But they do have dual carriageways in the capital.
Aya is
Senegal
half
and
Ghana, half from Ghana and half from Côte d'Ivoire.
Right, David is here, so here's a little treat for David. I'm gonna get my arse out. So if you're eating, honestly, don't watch this bit.
Thing you possibly want to see, but I really do have to shave my butt. I'm sorry. I've been bitten twice by a rather nasty. I think it was an African ant. It might have been something else. It might have been a snake or something for all I know. But this is my ass. Okay, check this out.
Oh god! Ow! Ow! Injury detail.
Oh my god!
So you didn't think you were going to see my ass, did you?
You would not believe. It's like sitting on really hot needles poking into your bottom.
Okay, so that happened.
That's okay.
You're going to be like, my eyes, my eyes.
I love your bar.
You do?
I want to go behind it and serve some drinks later. What do you reckon? I'm also going to get to a good...
Aya, who I stayed with. This is Aya, who I stayed with when I was in Abidjan.
It's maybe if I put this on.
There we go. And there's me feeding a deer. A deer came up to me while I was sitting at the restaurant and started being my friend. There you go.
I can't believe how tame she is. This is my little friend. What is it?
I think it's from jardin, which is garden.
Yeah.
And land, like
Disneyland.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, obviously we've got Bambi over here. Say hello.
It's Bambi.
I know. He's licking his butt.
Twerks the world.
Monkeys.
Might have been a spider bite. Might have been a spider bite. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's got a little African kid giving a deer a stroke.
Run, Bambi, run.
Baby.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. I can't even remember filming this.
First, I take a picture of the meat.
Okay, cheers, kiddo. So this is a restaurant that we went to. Just absolutely amazing.
Exactly.
I'm real obsessed with the deer.
You can come now.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if it's a deer. It's like an African deer, I guess.
Take a picture of the monkey.
Yeah.
A bit different. There we go. Sorry about all the night vision here. I didn't have
My little friend from Nairobi. Hi, I'm going to come through the window here. I know.
the window.
That's why I look at those jeeps with the open top.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what would I be doing there? In a safari park? Because if you have lions and those, they can actually...
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is not safe enough.
Yeah. Well, you got a horn. That should scare them off.
Just a horn?
I think.
Thank
That
you.
was Aya's mate there.
Hiya.
Talking about going on safari with like no protection around the vehicle, which is just mad. Yeah. I had a really
coming
good
for
chat with
breakfast?
Aya. I'll talk about it after I'll show you.
Can I just say something about the weather? It's been quite amazing. I bought an umbrella when I was back in Casamance, and I've used it like I didn't use it at all. I managed to lose it as well. yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it. You see what happened there. But so far, I mean, it looks like it's threatening to rain. Look, see, threatening to rain type clouds.
Oh, it was the rainy season.
But it hasn't actually rained.
It was the rainy season.
Very much, and when it has rained, I've been in the car. So it's been alright. The plan. Okay. Oh, thank you so much for letting me stay. You're gonna
It nice
kiss.
having you.
There we go.
Yeah.
So this
Aya
is
was my couch surf host.
and thank you so much for letting me stay.
Yeah, it's
Another
a
great
pleasure.
couch surfing experience.
I'm gonna
And
ask Mandy for the right
Yeah.
link to your
Yeah.
website, and I'll have a look at it and see where you are and what's going on.
oh, cool. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. And right, off I go to Ghana. To Ghana. Woo! Education.
Education.
That's it. November. Everyone's looking forward to the elections and hoping that'll be a new start for the country.
Hang on, here we go.
But recently, because of the troubles, the country being split in two with the rebels in the north and the government in the south, it's not the case anymore. But there's going to be elections in November. Everyone's looking forward to the elections and hoping that'll be a new start for the country and it won't descend into anarchy and violence and riots and things. And you know, I'm hoping that too. Yeah, I mean, been told not to come here, but you know, it's been alright. And talking to Aya, she says she's had quite a few European couch surfers come over and travel overland, some even through the north all the way to the south, which is the original route I was going to take, and then I changed my mind because of what I read about rebel activity, blah 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 blah. But it looks like it's not too bad, the situation at the moment. But this is August 2009, and things can change in a heartbeat in Africa.
They did.
I mean, the big problem happened in 2004 when the big problem happened in 2004 when the government here decided in their infinite wisdom to bomb the French, a French airbase, killing a bunch of French peacekeepers. The French didn't take too kindly at this and well, destroyed the entire Ivorian Air Force, like wiped it completely away. Huge anti-French riots, and a lot of French people left and still haven't come back, which is quite sad. That was 5 years ago now, so apparently there's still a lot of anti-French sentiments sort of floating around, which I don't really understand because they attacked the French and the French retaliated, as only the French can, by annihilating the opposition. Because this is Africa, and you know, in a fight between powers, they don't stand a chance. Okay, I'm not saying this to be horrible about Africa, but seriously, guys, you're a bunch of kids with guns.
A bit harsh, Graham. There's some of the buildings. Oh, that's actually a bit of that bridge that we saw when we were looking. So there's Abidjan there. That's the bridge that we saw.
West Africa for 2 weeks. It's
that was the bridge that we saw when we went on to the Google Street View.
Yay, 2010.
Oh yes, 2010 World Cup. That was on its way at the time in South Africa. Oh, wow, I think we just drove along there, didn't we? Did we just drive along there? Can I just quickly have a look? I'll just take you back to the Google Street View. Oh my god, like that's that, isn't it? That is. I'm not being. Is that's literally the thing we're looking at there? Almost, is it? Is it? Is it? Let's just. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's the same build. That's the same build. That must be the same building. No, it's not. It's not. It's not quite. It's very similar though. Bloody hell. No, I think it is. Okay, that's the street view. And that's my footage. Obviously, this building here is new. The one with the sort of the smile face on it. But yeah, there you go. Proof I was there. This is like where the BBC Verify to go. Was he actually where he says he was? But yes, indeed I was. I was there. central
So I get the
Abidjan.
front seat. Hey! And everyone else has to get squished into the back. Get the exposure right.
Oh, Graham, sort out your exposure.
My name's Graham Hughes, and I'm in Côte d'Ivoire
Oh, cool. I'll make a video of me.
for my ant bites. It's amazing how a little tiny ant, which is about this big, can cause so much pain and discomfort. But there you go. I hope it hasn't given me something like leprosy.
Hey,
I don't
Oliver.
think you can catch leprosy from ants. In the same way that chickpeas don't contain chicken.
What are you talking about, Graham?
You know, Côte d'Ivoire smacks of somewhere that has been very heavily developed in the 70s and 80s, and then the development just stopped. You know, look, all you can do is do what all the people here are doing. Cross your fingers, hope for the best for these elections in November, and hopefully we'll have some progress. What's happened is the government have outlawed the opposition, basically, and the opposition weren't happy about it, so they took over most of the army in the north, and there's a big north-south divide split, basically between along lots of lines, religious lines, ethnic lines. I mean, basically geographical lines. The north of the country don't want to be ruled by the guy who rules the south of the country. And the UN are here, and NGOs are here trying to sort this stuff out. But the big question is the Electoral Commission here going to be strong enough and have the fortitude to take on the political parties in November, and will the government cede power if they lose, which is something that only about 8 regimes in the whole of Africa have ever done, cede power gracefully. But there's light at the end of the tunnel, but you know, it has been done. So we'll see. We will see, Côte d'Ivoire, we will see.
Okay, well, we did see, and the reality was that it didn't end well. There was a civil war that went, well, civil conflict, I guess, in 2010 that ran through to 2011, but eventually it ended with peace and, you know, a sort of free and fair election, sort of, you know, it's fairly stable now, so that's a good thing. So we're just running through a little bit of Abidjan here. We've got shops and things, strip mall, I guess you'd call it. And then we're driving through. Oh, I see this is where it started raining. This is West Africa in the rainy season. When you've got a dirt track plus lots of rain, it tends to go a bit mad. So I'm just skipping through where the sound's not on at the moment, but yeah, there you go. Okay, so that's my footage. That's my footage from Côte d'Ivoire. In a way, you know, if I had a camera crew with me and it wasn't just me trying to film everything and try and talk about my travels and what I was doing, and yeah, if I had a bit more to go on, I would I'd have taken a tripod, better camera, and got some really nice footage of streets and people and stuff and things. But when I was traveling in the first year, I really just didn't get as much footage as I really should have done of just everyday life in the places that I was traveling through, because I wasn't spending very much time in these places, so I was kind of rattling through them. But Aya, the woman I stayed with in Côte d'Ivoire, you saw her in Abidjan there. We had a really interesting conversation. She had family who lived in London, and I said to her, "Do you not want to move? Do you not like want to go and stay with your family over there?" She goes, "No, I've visited London because I think one of her parents was British and the other parent was French." And she said, "Look, you know, I visit there quite a lot, and one of her parents was British and the other parent was Ivorian, I think." And she said, "But you know, you got these people in London and they're working every hour that God sends to live in a tiny little bedsit. And it just doesn't look like the quality of life that I want. Here in Côte d'Ivoire, I can go out, see my friends, you know, have really nice food." The apartment that I was staying in that night was just insanely beautiful. I mean, it was incredible. And we were up in a tower, like we were quite high up, and we had a view over the harbour and everything, which I couldn't see because it was too dark and the camera was crap. But at the same time, it was like I could see a point. You know, I had these conversations all the way through West Africa with people who had the choice to come to America or Canada or France or Britain and chose not to for various reasons. There were a few people who came back to Sierra Leone, they came back to Liberia after the wars had finished. There were people who, traveled over and had family and stuff like that, but they come back as well. There was one guy who was a doctor who did a show on the national radio. He was a doctor, and national radio was a really good way of, he had like a phone-in show that if people had problems or whatever, they could call in to the radio because it was hard to get doctors out to certain areas in Sierra Leone. I met another guy who was an architect who was helping rebuild places in Liberia. And yeah, there was this generally positive attitude while I was there, even though this was a country, in Côte d'Ivoire's case, where they were in between wars when I was there. They had a civil war, and then I was there, and then they had another civil war. And it just goes to show that no matter how shit things seem at any particular time, the human spirit is indomitable. You can't keep it down. People will thrive. We might have the wind knocked out of our sails for a little while, and sometimes things aren't going our way by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, what these autocrats, what these fascists, what Nazis like Musk and Trump and all that lot want to do is to just subdue the human spirit. And they can do that in countries like Russia and North Korea. But in countries that know what it's like to be able to travel the world, be able to say what you want, be able to make videos about whatever you want, having that taken away from you, that feels like oppression, because it is oppression. So that's good. My mum's there. Good memories of your world journey. Thanks, Mum. Hope you missed the bum bit. I stood on a red fire ant nest in Florida once. The pain was awful. Oh, I love it. We get fire ants on the island in Panama, Not so much anymore. I think because of the rising floodwaters, they've all been drowned. Like, seriously, they've all been drowned, so there just aren't any anymore. But yeah, we did have a problem for a little while. Oliver Brown said, Jesus. So yeah, so that's it really. That was my experience of Côte d'Ivoire, which I find a really fascinating and interesting place. Obviously, it's a francophone place; people speak French there, but I met enough people who spoke decent enough English, and I spoke at the time decent enough French to try and get my message across. I don't anymore, by the way. All my French has fallen out of my head. But yeah, it's great that these places are doing a lot better than they were, and it gives me hope. It just gives me hope for the future for all places on Earth that have gone through the shit and have come out stronger on the other side. And I think we should see that as a bit of a inspiration there with old Côte d'Ivoire. Let's get the map back up there with old Côte d'Ivoire there, or the Ivory Coast, and yeah, we've covered I think most of the overview. There's a place called Man, which is really cool, Man, and the capital there as well. And where else was I going to show you? I was going to show you the other place that I went to. There's a national park over there, and then there is where's the other national park that I mentioned? I don't know where it is. I didn't go to the other national park. I should have done. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the national park. But they've got areas of proper safari in Côte d'Ivoire as well. But also, what something that's worth mentioning is just all the beaches. You've got some incredible beaches along the coast here, which are just open to the public and anyone can go and just enjoy. So and there's hardly anyone there. There's hardly anyone there, so you get the whole place to yourself, really, which is fantastic. So if you ever zoom in, you'll see the beaches. See the beaches along here? There's nobody there for miles and miles and miles. If you're sick of being trapped on a beach with 1,000 other tourists, look at this. This has been, and it's weird the way it's so straight. I mean, that looks like it's man-made, doesn't it? It's so straight, but it's not. It is not. Big shout out to Sarah there, and Oliver and Ivan. Hi, Ivan. How you doing, mate? Who's there? So that's it for this week on Hughes of the World. Next week we'll be talking about a place very close to my heart, which is Croatia. one of the best places I've been to in Europe, and I've been to a lot of really cool places in Europe. Croatia is fantastic. I've traveled quite extensively around Croatia. I've been to Dubrovnik and to Split and to Zagreb. And I've also been to the islands like Miljet and Hvar. So it should be good. It should be good. I'll be able to talk about my experiences in these places a lot, because I've been there. I think I've been to Dubrovnik like 3 times. I think I've been 3 times to Dubrovnik now, which is where they filmed King's Landing. So King's Landing in Game of Thrones, that was filmed in Dubrovnik. So if you would like to join us for that, you are very, very welcome. They grow a lot of cocoa there, yeah, or cacao. I'm never sure which is which, because there's cocoa and cacao, and they seem to be interchangeable terms. Sorry, just move the microphone so it's out the bloody way. So yeah, until next time, I'm just going to say thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the nice messages in the chat. And until next time, I'm just going to say this is in Baoulé language, which is spoken in Côte d'Ivoire. This is how you say goodbye in Baoulé. So next time, until the morning, I'll be back at 9 o'clock for Morning Brew. We've got a bumper day tomorrow. Obviously, we've got Morning Brew in the morning. We've got Agenda at 1 o'clock with Phil Morehouse from a different bias channel. And then in the evening, we'll be getting drunk and lambasting the world at the Friday Night Social. So please join us for all that. So thanks everyone in the chat. And until next time, I'll say, Au revoir.